Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. So to the Daily Mirror we go, over in the UK. It says the human race has peaked, and some scientists warn that this is as good as it gets for mankind. Not so good in the grand scheme of things, but I kind of understand, or at least I think I know, why it is they're highlighting this. Not just in this piece, but I'm starting to see some mainstream scientists talk about how humanity has peaked across peer-reviewed work. So check this out. It says the human race has peaked with mankind reaching its maximum limits for height, lifespan, and physical performance, scientists have claimed. Despite these stories that each generation will live longer and longer, a new report suggests that there may be a maximum threshold or biological limits that we cannot exceed. In particular, the French research team behind the study found that what appears to be a plateau, perhaps, in the maximum biological limits for human height, age, and physical ability. Now, they say this is Jean-Francois Toussaint, professor from Paris's Descartes University, says, quote, these traits no longer increase despite further continuous nutritional, medical, and scientific progress. Now, I'm going to stop there for a second because, interestingly enough, we've seen many things happen in support of Agenda 21 and depopulation, not just here in the United States, but across the world. Agenda 21, of course, deals with the environment and the fact that humans are like a virus to this planet. We're a plague. And so in managing overpopulation, overconsumption, they hope to have a balance with nature. You know, the Georgia Guidestones. If you're not familiar with them, look them up, check them out. They list there almost like a manifesto, if you will, a goal sheet. A plan of actions and milestones. And in it, they look, or the person, R.C. Christian, which I think is Rosicrucian, has a limit set for 500 million people as a acceptable population limit for the planet, or one where humanity lives in balance with nature. They say 500 million people. See, the problem is there's 9 billion people on this planet. Now, I don't know many people out there that would want to be complicit in the murder of 8.5 billion people. But through subtle changes to society and social engineering efforts, they're right on the cusp of realizing a dramatic population reduction in this planet. And I don't know if this article and articles and studies like this aren't put out there to diminish the shock when populations start to plummet. And this becomes a real crisis that becomes front and center, not just in the United States, but also in other first world nations. I've highlighted how birth rates have plummeted across the first world, with over half of the world's countries, all the countries of the world, over half of them have population rates below 2.0. And that's significant because that does not keep up with what you'd need to maintain a healthy population and be able to, under the current social structure, be able to care for your old when they become old and unable to work. Then you have the other thing, which is soon there won't be enough jobs for everybody. And I mean sooner rather than later, with the emergence of AI and advanced robotics and automation like we've never seen it before. It's making human labor obsolete in virtually every arena. And so you couple all this together, and this study seems to start to make sense, because you also look on the flip side. There's plenty of science out there that's looking to edit the human genome to do everything from cure disease to give superhuman strength or superhuman abilities to immortality. And this is just a few things that people are. As a matter of fact, I think it was just found that a lot of these well-to-dos regularly get blood transfusions from young people because they're finding that if you get a transfusion of young person's blood, it tends to have regenerative effects along with, cellular regeneration. So, I mean, you're talking about two distinct sets of scientific opinions here, scientific information. One side, like the Peter Thiel-backed immortality effort, where you have clear advancements in that arena. On the flip side, you've got this French study that's saying, hey, we've reached the height of the human race has peaked, and as a result, don't get your sights set on anything further. As a matter of fact, it's going to start to go downhill. If you take a look at the life expectancy, it's actually started to drop. And if you take a look at population across the planet, they're projecting the first population decrease in quite some time. And it's projected to go downhill real fast. Which leads me to believe the second thing. Now you think about Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. And in that scenario, child rearing and procreation is all done and controlled by the state. There was no personal childbearing unless you lived outside the walls of this, of society. And that was considered barbaric in that book. But you can see why that might be a priority down the road, because if people aren't having enough children on their own to maintain whatever population level you're trying to maintain, why then the government's going to have to come in and take over. Now they can engineer society based on genetics. Characteristics such as, wow, we're short doctors this year, so we need to genetically engineer some doctors. That's, of course, if AI hasn't taken that over yet. It's a very interesting dynamic that's playing out in humanity. This study continues to say, this suggests that modern societies have allowed our species to reach its limits. We are the first generation to become aware of this. Rather than continually improving, the scientists said we'll see a shift in the proportion of population reaching the previous recorded maximum limits. And for example, few sports records will be broken and more people will reach but not exceed the present highest life expectancy. So this is very interesting. Now, moreover, the research warned that mankind's impact on the environment, here it is. Remember, mankind is a virus. Remember that. Moreover, the researchers warned that mankind's impact on the environment, including climate change, could see these limits decrease. This is a greaser, if you will, a greaser article. These articles and articles like this are ones that are put out there to get you ready for what's coming. And this is one of them. It says this will be one of the biggest challenges of this century, as the added pressures from the anthropogenic activities will be responsible for damaging effects on human health and the environment. This according to Professor Toussaint. Now, I don't know about you, but you would think that with these two emerging lines of thought, one going down the road of immortality, even engineering biological or organic life out, saying that you won't miss it, to we've reached our peak and we're going down, makes you wonder what's going on and why this is all happening and what's trying to be communicated to us. And I think what's being communicated to us is that these elites have a plan, that they are working really hard to circumvent the current construct, to create their own synthetic construct that doesn't have a lot of us in it. And eventually over time, they're going to let basically in an attrition fashion, the human population just plummet. And then after that, they'll control it on their own. At least that's the way I see it happen. Again, it's very similar to Brave New World with a 1984 style control grid. But again, the other thing that you have to consider, though, is the emergence of AI and how out of control that is, too. So there is a lot of things in play here. But again, I think this is a Greaser article getting people ready to accept the fact that there are going to be drastic changes to the earth and how we live and how humanity is and how humanity governs itself. Basically, everything from top to bottom is on the table for change for humanity in the near future. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Hashtag wake the flock up. Have a great day, everybody.